is his presence, and that's something that's been notably absent in the Arsenal's attempts to try and win that Premiership title for the first time in so long. But he's a massive, and it'll be important tonight with two young centre-backs in front of him. He'll need to use all his experience to talk them through it, because, as you said, they're going up against Didier Drogba, who has absolutely destroyed Arsenal over the years. Yeah, former teammate, of course, of Petr. There's been plenty of banter between the two ahead of this particular fixture. Drogba was suggesting that he's a legend, a very good friend, a fantastic keeper. He rates him as #1 that he's played alongside, but he plays against the Arsenal stopper, of course, here, and it should be a terrific encounter for both experienced players in the squad. And you get the sense that maybe the All-Stars are just about favourites to claim success against an Arsenal side that is packed with youngsters. So many players, of course, played in the European Championships. They will not be playing here.
Arsenal FC Chief Executive Officer Ivan Gazidis, United States Soccer Federation President Sunil Gulati, San Jose Earthquakes owner John Fisher, and representing AT&T Chris Roy as they greet tonight's teams and officials.
So the dignitaries introduced to the players ahead of the action here. Arsenal will be hoping to build to the Premier League season for the MLS All-Stars. It's back to domestic action at the weekend, and they'll be hoping to build to the playoffs for their respective clubs, but they will be hoping to put down a marker here and prove themselves against this Arsenal side. Mix and match to a certain extent. Some youngsters that we can expect to see over the course of the new European season, but some established pros as well. And those Arsenal fans who have seen little, of course, of Arsenal in the United States over the years. They played the New York Red Bulls just a couple of campaigns ago. Prior to that, you've got to go back to a game in the 80s against Independiente, played in Miami. Ahead of the action, it will be the national anthems.
Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing and remove your hats as national recording artist Josh Kelly performs our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, all the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free? And the home of the brave.
Well, 6 of the All-Star lineup have played against Arsenal previously. One of them, Didier Drogba, will be relishing the chance to go up against Arsene Wenger's side once more. In 15 previous appearances against the Gunners, the Ivorian can boast 13 goals. There are 17 players who haven't been in an all-star squad before, and 2 in their rookie MLS campaign. Kaká captains the side. The Brazilian once featured in a Milan side, beaten 2-0 at the San Siro by Arsenal. Alongside him in midfield then and now is Andrea Pirlo. Former Spurs winger Giovanni Dos Santos could be the target for some boos from the Arsenal fans in the stadium. The LA Galaxy player had an unproductive time at White Hart Lane, but Gunners supporters, of course, have long memories. On the bench for the All-Stars, another former Spur, Clint Dempsey, who's been playing well for a poor Seattle side this season, and amongst others, alongside him, last season's MVP Sebastian Giovinco. Arsenal start with a much more experienced side from the one held 1-1 at Lens in their first pre-season friendly. Petr Jack Wilshere, Theo Walcott and Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain are 4 of 7 changes all told, and there's a first look in Arsenal colours at Rob Holding, who was signed from Bolton in the summer. Holding will form part of a youthful centre-back pairing alongside 18-year-old Pole Christian Bielik. Signed from Legia Warsaw 18 months ago as a midfielder. Last season he played mainly as a defender for the youth team. Walcott will play up front with Joel Campbell, who performed in the United States for Costa Rica this summer in the Copa America, operating on the left. Oxlade-Chamberlain, who netted the equaliser against Lens, is featuring on the right-hand side for Arsenal in typical 4-2-3-1 formation. There's no Giroud, Ozil, Ramsey, Koscielny, Alexis or Mertesacker, but Granit Xhaka is on the bench, the Swiss international signed from Borussia Mönchengladbach in the summer. MLS All-Stars will be hoping to keep their good run going against Premier League sides. Tottenham Hotspur were beaten 2-1 in the previous MLS All-Star clash. Will Arsenal go the same way as their fiercest rivals? We will find out one way or another. If it's level at the 90, we will go to a penalty shootout. Christian Bielik, a really big opportunity for him in front of Arsene Wenger and those adoring Arsenal supporters. And Kieran Gibbs, who played second fiddle to Nacho Monreal, getting a run out in this fixture as well. We are underway. It is North America versus North London. The MLS All-Stars taking on Arsenal here. The Gunners shorn of many of their experienced professionals, their established starters, against an MLS All-Stars side packed full of talent of international class as well. They'll be hoping to keep their good run alive against the Premier League clubs who have come here over the last decade or so, and by and large been beaten. Can Arsenal stop the rot? Can they do what Manchester United have done, but not the likes of Chelsea in a couple of appearances in the MLS All-Star game? Gareth, it's a fascinating matchup here. You do sense that the MLS All-Stars will be fit and fighting, given the fact that they're in the middle of their particular season. And obviously, for the likes of Mohamed El Neni and co, they're just beginning to get into the groove with the Premier League campaign 2 weeks or so away. Yes, absolutely. And we normally associate Arsenal dominating the ball and possession, but when you look at the MLS stars in midfield and this man on the ball now, Pirlo, it's very difficult to try and get them off the ball. You've got Pirlo in there, Kaká. These are guys that can look after the ball all day, so it can be a fascinating game. Simon will look to punt it long, player who did feature in the European Championships for Belgium. Mathieu Debuchy, not for France. He, of course, spent some time on loan at Bordeaux last campaign after losing his place to Hector Bellerin, who was named in the PFA team of the year and went to the Euros with Spain, although didn't play. It's a rather late challenge, and Arsenal have an opportunity with this free kick. Our referee is Chris Penso, incidentally, in his 8th season as a MLS referee. First appearance in the All-Star game for the man in the middle. In the mid to high 80s, so I don't expect any side to bust a gut for the full 90. There will be changes over the course of the game, as you would expect, given the nature of this exhibition. This is Oxlade-Chamberlain, who did brilliantly to score against Lens, a terrific strike to level it up in Arsenal's first pre-season game. This is Campbell, should be cleared away by Rosenberry. Kaká, Pirlo, that's rather sloppy, and Oxlade-Chamberlain could be away here. It's towards Theo Walcott, still Walcott, wide of the target.
Well, that is a first. I've never seen Pirlo give the ball away so cheaply like that, and it just shows you that as soon as you put some pressure on them, Arsenal try and win it, and he's just trying to play a blind ball there. Initially, when they pick up the ball, Oxlade-Chamberlain, you're probably thinking he's going to drive and have a shot himself, but decides to play it to Walcott, who can't quite get the ball out of his feet to get a good strike.
Sloppy from Andrea Pirlo, 37 now. First all-star appearance will shut. Oxlade-Chamberlain, Arsenal looking lively in the opening 3 minutes or so, and then he will let it run through. But Debuchy, his touch is rather heavy. That's something to prove, certainly. Mathieu Debuchy had an awful time with injury, of course, at Arsenal.
At the time, it did a really good signing, got him from Newcastle. Everything looked like sorted. He was going to be a real mainstay of that team, but got that shoulder injury, and then out of nowhere, Bellerin's come in and really established himself and gone on to be one of the best right-backs in the league, really. So it looks like Debuchy's really going to have to probably try and find some football elsewhere.
It's got a glimpse there of Kellen Acosta as well, who's playing on the left-hand side of the All-Stars defence. It's an unfamiliar position, really, for Acosta.
Well, no, he started one game only there. He's normally a holding midfield player, but it's great to see these guys who are coming through the academies. He's come out of Dallas, and obviously we've got Rosenberg on the other side. You want to see these young guys making names for themselves in the MLS. Obviously, we've got the stars, the established players throughout the world of football, but if the MLS is to develop, they've got to bring through their own players. So it's brilliant to see those guys getting a nod this evening.
A couple of MLS rookies, Rosenbree's one, and certainly the other who's on the bench. Costa's got plenty of experience, even though he is just 21. It's something of an anomaly in MLS action. Early opportunity from a corner for Arsene Wenger's side. Theo Walcott across to take. Comfortably cleared.
And Walcott will be expecting better, because when you're playing up a team who hasn't had that much time to work together, you want to try and exploit them in situations like that.
Campbell drives forward and is taken down. Santos with the rather lazy challenge, and another opportunity for the Gunners, who have started brightly. Managed to force his way into the starting lineup in the Premier League last season, did Joel Campbell, and then was dropped towards the end of the campaign, but certainly a player that can offer something a little different, you feel, for Arsenal.
He's done fantastically well for Arsenal last season in a time where they had real injuries. Walcott, Oxlade-Chamberlain were out at the same time. He come into the side and established himself as a genuine Arsenal first-team player.
Something that Theo Walcott wants to re-establish in the forthcoming season. Looks like he's going to be favourite to take this one on, Theo. It is Walcott. Curling effort that Andre Blake seemed to see a little late, but still makes the save as the Philadelphia Union stopper.
Initially, they're looking like Walcott's going to go for that far post, but he just tries to read the situation, doesn't go too early, and just reacts really well to hold that, because a lot of Arsenal players were following that in for the rebound.
It's the 4 clean sheets so far for Blake, who's been a real star for Philadelphia Union, who themselves have surprised many, going well in the Eastern Conference at the moment. They were leading the Eastern Conference for the early weeks of the campaign. They've slipped to third recently, behind the 2 New York sides. And down will knock it forward. Acosta with a heavy touch. This is Debuchy. Jamaican international had 1 or 2 problems with injuries a couple of years ago, and the injury kept him out of the Union side. Did play in the Copa America for Jamaica in the summer. Jamaica unfortunately bowing out at the group stage. This is Pirlo. Kakar will take a touch, and that's a useful ball over to the left-hand side, and suddenly there's options here for the All-Stars. The shot crashed in by David Villa, is blocked. Might get another go, and a third go, but eventually it spins all the way through to Pericet.
How many times have we seen that with David Villa? In his real pomp in his Barcelona days, those runs from outside to in. Got to have your wits about you as a defender, because he's always looking to attack that 6-yard box, and that's the reason why he gets so many goals and continues to get the goals in the MLS.
One scored against Arsenal at the Emirates Stadium, David Villa. And a 2-1 Arsenal's success. Barcelona won the return at Camp Nou back in the 10-11 Champions League campaign. 13 goals in MLS this season, and the league's top goal scorer, just ahead of Nacho Piatti, the Montreal Impact midfielder, who's part of the All-Star squad, who's on the bench. Bradley Wright-Phillips and Sebastian Giovinco just in behind those two. Flag has stayed down here. Another opportunity. Terrific save from Petr Cech. That was Dos Santos that got free.
What an absolutely magnificent ball from Pirlo, picking it up in that deep midfield area. And it's not something we've seen so much of him at New York City, because Vieira's trying to play in more advanced area, getting closer to the goal to create those chances. But that was Pirlo that we've seen all throughout the years. World Cup winner. What a fantastic pass.
One terrific delivery, one slip as well from Pirlo so far. And New York City supporters would suggest that that's what they've seen. A little inconsistent. What can he conjure here? Rather low trajectory. David Villa can't make anything of it. Let's see what Arsenal can do on the break with Theo Walcott looking to take on Giovanni Dos Santos. Pirlo tries to challenge Walcott. Eventually, it's Walcott that ends up on the deck.
Dos Santos has done brilliantly there, because as soon as Walcott picks that ball up in those deep areas, if he can knock it and open his legs up, not many men stay with him, so he's done great to just stop that attack in its track.
Good tempo to the opening 9 minutes or so. MLS All-Stars 0, Arsenal 0.
Yeah, it has been a good tempo. And we talked about Arsenal being a bit rusty, but Wenger's come out this week and said the modern-day footballer doesn't come back to pre-season unfit. He doesn't need it. He's going to be fit the whole calendar year, and what you're just looking for when you come back is just to get that rhythm going again, get that game tempo.
That's the ball towards Dos Santos. Had Gibbs snapping for a second, and the save by Cech. Meanwhile, at the other end, Campbell looking to muscle his way free. Was he brought down inside the penalty area? Yes, he was. Chris Penso points to the spot. Seaman was awkward and clumsy, and a card will come out as well to the Belgian. Campbell was persistent, and it's paid off.
It was, when you see the ball over the top there, and a bit of a confusion between the centre-back and the goalkeeper. As we said, players haven't played regularly together. And Seaman just tries to lean into in there, and it looks like he was going to stop him putting it in for him. So referee's made his mind up early. Penalty for Arsenal.
So Andre Blake, super draft pick of 2014, the Jamaican, stands in Arsenal's way. Seaman into the book. Van Dam continues to argue the case. Chris Penso moves the Belgian away, and Arsenal have the opportunity to inch in front from the spot. Campbell brought down. Looks to compose himself. Can he fire the gunners in front? Up against Blake. Finds the corner. Arsenal lead by a goal to 0. An orthodox run up, but he does manage to put Arsenal in front here. Blake guessed the right way, but too much power. MLS All-Stars 0, Arsenal 1.
It's the man shaking his head there. He knows it's frustrating to give away a goal like that, but Campbell fiercely struck. But Blake is so furious with himself. He felt if he'd committed to it, he would have got it. But that is a good penalty, isn't it? Right in the corner, very difficult to get there.
Well, 3 goals last campaign for Joel Campbell in the Premier League. How much will he feature in the 16-17 campaign remains to be seen. But as you mentioned before, Gary, he came in and did a job really well, and Arsenal was short in that particular area. Can play left and right flank, can play through the centre as well. We've seen him play for Costa Rica as a second striker, and indeed for Olympiacos when he was out on loan, playing so well in the Champions League a couple of seasons ago, scoring against Manchester United.
Well, it'll definitely give Wenger something to think about. The problem he has is the quality that Arsenal have in that second line of attack and the number 10 areas as such. They've just got so much. We see the quality here today, but obviously the likes of Ramsey, Ozil still to come back in.
Oxlade-Chamberlain looking to play Debussy here, and it's Acosta that will smuggle the ball behind for another corner, and suddenly Arsenal are dominating.
They are the All-Stars. You've just got to have a quiet word. The more experienced players have got to say to the younger ones, just settle down and let's try and get a foothold in the game. Let's get hold of the ball. Because at the moment, all the momentum's with Arsenal.
Oxlade-Chamberlain with the signal. Bielik is forward from the back. It's over the head of Bielik. It's cleared away by Drogba. El Neni looks to control. Now it's with Campbell once again. Beckerman just stands off for a second. Still Campbell looking to come forward. Rosenberry looks to get in the way.
But just in defending that last corner there, we see about Drogba. We know about his goals, his power and leading the line. But what people underestimate is the role he used to play for Chelsea in that defensive area and heading those type of balls clear. Such a presence back there when he comes in to help.
Rosenberry looking for Beckerman. Rosenberry again. Now it's with Pirlo. Van Dam. It's a late call-up for the All-Stars. Liam Ridgewell misses out. Matt Piesler as well, of Sporting Kansas City, out injured. This is Campbell. Looks up first time to Walcott, who controls, and Oxlade-Chamberlain is streaking ahead of him. It's still Walcott, just dallied for a second. Acosta allowed time to come back and steal the ball away.
And Walcott's looking back at El Neni, his teammate, to say, you should be telling me that there's a man on, but really, when you're in that position, you should be better than that. And this is the problem that Arsenal fans have with Walcott. He's been very vocal. He wants to play centre-forward. But if you want to play centre-forward at an elite-level club like Arsenal, when you get into those situations, you've got to make it count.
Beckerman, the United States international, coming forward. It's another All-Star appearance for him. Times he's been in the squad previously.
Well, we talked about the two young guys coming through the academies of the MLS clubs, and then we look at the total contrast in terms of Beckerman, in terms of playing 17 MLS seasons. That just shows you what a stalwart of this league he is.
Played in the Copa America as well. Over 50 caps for his country. MLS Cup winner back in 2009. 5.5 years with Colorado Rapids. Drogba slips. Is the ball just going to spin away? And fine touch. David Villa looks to slip away from Debuchy. Still going forward here. Can he pick the pass? It's El Neni who's back. Oxlade-Chamberlain to try and clear. Acosta puts the pressure on. Oxlade-Chamberlain, he's too good and looks to find Walcott. Terrific play. Walcott, Campbell calling for it. It's still Walcott. Well, he didn't really hit it, and that's easy for Andre Blake.
We've seen all that's good about Walcott, and unfortunately all that's not so good in terms of great pace driving. Got a lucky ricochet goal, opens up for him, but just doesn't have the quality finish at the end of it.
Kaká chips it forward, looking for Rosenberry. Gives his back goal side. And the All-Stars managed to win a corner here. Arsenal lead by a goal to nil. It should potentially have been more. Theo Walcott was free. Back to do some defensive work. Kaká gets ready to take. Van Dam has to knock it back towards the penalty spot, but nobody there in All-Star colours. Kaká will have another go. Forward to aim at this time. Drogba won't get to it. Back in towards Didier Drogba, who tries to just take it down and use his strength inside the penalty area. Kaká once more, better from the All-Stars. Just runs into too many bodies, too many shins in the way as the Gunners look to clear. That's Jack Wilshere. Cool as you like under pressure. Gibbs. He's got time to turn and use his pace again, but runs into Sima.
The All-Stars just got to be careful in terms of their setup. I know we've got Pirlo, Kaká in terms of getting on the ball in that midfield area, but on the turnover, they are leaving Beckerman a little bit exposed, and with the pace that Arsenal have on the counter-attack, they have to make sure that the defensive structure behind their attacking play is better than it has been so far.
Pirlo to Villa once again. The two New York City players look to combine. Oxlade-Chamberlain enjoying himself, of course. Injury problems for Oxlade-Chamberlain last season. Missed out on the Euros because of the issues. The problem that kept him out for the end of the season. He's against a left fly. Doesn't trouble Blake on this occasion, but plenty of power from a player performing with confidence.
Yeah, he started very well. We know that when he gets the ball in those areas, He's not afraid to pull the trigger, just finds a bit of space in and around the 10 area. Good first touch, doesn't need a second invitation. He's just looking for that to just fade at the last minute. Unfortunately, it just stayed a bit too straight.
Well, he scored one Premier League goal last campaign, scored in the Community Shield very early on in the season. Many were tipping a big season for Oxlade-Chamberlain. This will be his 6th season now with the Gunners. Gibbs slides in. All Stars get the decision. Surely being Sam Allardyce's thinking for the first England squad, he can continue this type of form into the season proper. Rosenberry will take the throw. All Stars looking to get back on terms. Seaman conceded the spot kick. Acosta here wants it wide left. Kaká comes a little short. Now it's with Pello. Beckerman. In the space over on that left-hand side. Here will take it down. Acosta has come in field. Still David Villa. Kaká waits inside the penalty area. Beckerman chips it forward, looks here for Villa, tries the spectacular. Well, it's something we know that he's capable of. On that occasion, though, it was well wide of the target.
You're never going to have a go at someone like David Villa for trying those type of efforts, but certainly Arsenal looking to hold a defensive line. 2 young centre-backs, haven't played many games together. Just have to be careful there. You hold a high line in around your box with the likes of Villa making those runs. You've got to be so careful because the timing of his runs are absolute perfection.
All Stars have won 7, lost 4 in the current All Stars formats against a guest side rather than East versus Western conferences as it once was. By and large, they've got the better of whoever's travelled to North America to play, including the likes of Bayern Munich and a whole host of Premier League clubs as well. This is Campbell. Arsenal bucking the trend at the moment. Oxlade-Chamberlain. Wilshere's touch. El Neni. Seen Jack Wilshere in that advanced role as well here. Flick towards Walcott. The flag is up. Seen Wilshere play deep. Seen play in a variety of positions for Arsenal in his career. Not quite sure Arsene Wenger still knows exactly what his best position is.
But the problem you have with Wilshere in terms of where will he fit in when everyone's fit. If Arsene Wenger's picking his best 11, Ozil's going to be in it, Sanchez is going to be it, and then you're looking to play him in a deeper midfield area.
Villa racing, keeping in play. Drogba wants it far post at the moment. It's still David Villa. The step over for Acosta, tries to wrap the left boot around it. Must have flicked up off an Arsenal boot. No. Giovanni Dos Santos, who got there, claims it was a corner.
Debussy must be looking at Oxlade-Chamberlain to say, you need to give me some more support there defensively because he's been exposed 1v1 by Villa. And if the centre's given him the overlap as well, they're very fortunate not to concede a corner there, Arsenal.
Didn't quite happen for Dos Santos. Tottenham had some good campaigns around European football. Now with LA Galaxy, of course, still just 27. Did play once against Arsenal in his Tottenham career, was in a Spurs side beaten 4-1 after extra time in the League Cup back in September of 2010. Here is Walcott. Wilshere. And looks to move forward. Rides one challenge. Costa has crumpled to the ground. I think the referee's going to halt play here.
That looks worrying, actually. It seems that Coquelin had a heavy touch, committed himself then for the tackle. He just have gone over the ball and caught Costa on his right shin, which can be so painful.
Here's the challenge again.
Yeah, no malicious intent as such, just looking to go for the ball. We know how competitive he is. It looks bad on the replays, of course it does when the studs go on there, but you hope he's all right. It looks okay, but they are particularly sore when they happen initially.
One of the stars of the United States under-20 squad of last year. Played the World Cup at that level in New Zealand. Made it through to the knockout stages. He was sent off against Colombia, missed the game against Serbia in which the United States were knocked out. Coquelin, of course, not want to shirk a challenge. He's certainly been what Arsenal have been missing prior to him establishing himself as a first-team member, not necessarily first choice, although he did have a run in the side last season, obviously, but he was loaned out to the likes of Lorient, Freiburg and Charlton before coming back in favour.
It's incredible, really, his emergence in that Arsenal team, and it was more out of necessity than development, really, because this is a guy who's a box-to-box midfielder, but suddenly Arsenal needed someone to play that holding role because of the injuries to Flamini, Arteta, and he took to it brilliantly, to the extent that when he wasn't playing, he was very much missed in that Arsenal midfield.
Midway point of this first half. MLS All-Stars 0, Arsenal 1. Joe Campbell from the spot after he was clumsily challenged by Laurent Ciman, the Montreal Impact defender. The other end, it's holding that's been penalised.
You have to say he's had a relatively comfortable afternoon so far, evening I should say, and that's because they probably ain't playing it direct up to Drogba. But certainly a massive learning curve for him. It's great to see this young player coming through. I spoke to Neil Lennon about 5 or 6 months ago. He said a young player at Bolton to keep an eye out, and lo and behold, Arsenal make the decision to get him in. And obviously Mertesacker's injured. They're going to need to do a bit of business, I'm sure, to get some experience in that centre-half area, because when Arsenal fans talk about why they haven't been challenging for the title, one of the key positions is that centre-back area.
Really rolls it forward. Campbell can't take. Perlo Simon between them. We'll find Blake, who will punt it long. Here is Holding. He's in the Bolton side last season more often than not. 26 appearances in the Championship. Campbell looking to get free again here, and he'll get there ahead of Rosenbry. Did he have a little bit more time there, the Costa Rican, perhaps?
I think he looked up for support. There wasn't any. Delay just allowed Rosenbry to get back in. But for a young defender, Rosenbry, this is what he needs to learn about, is that when someone's on the ball, they can get their head up, you have to drop early. That split second, you don't do it quick enough, you're going to be caught out by players of this quality.
El Neni, another player that came in, of course, signed from Basel in the winter window, and he thought that they wouldn't see anything of him, but again came in and started 9 games in the top flight, contributed to Arsenal's finishing second. Here he is again with a shot, and he scored an absolute cracker against Barcelona in the Champions League. On this occasion he's denied,
and he felt as soon as he hit it, it was in. We talked about finding space again, just off Perlo, not getting out quick enough. Blake is furious with his midfielders that they're not closing down that shot, but as he strikes that, he thinks it's in the top corner. But look at Blake, fingertips, just touches it over, uses every bit of his frame. Brilliant save.
Then he had the space to take the shot on, nearly doubling Arsenal's advantage. Walcott will take the corner yet again here. Delivery to the far post, none better than the one that was fired towards the near 10 minutes or so back, and that will just drift away for an MLS All-Stars throw. Blake in good form this season, the Jamaican. Drogba. He's not been at his bullying best, but he's 38 now, Didier Drogba. Scourge of Arsenal for so many seasons. And at Chelsea, here is Dos Santos. Looking for the ball round the back, but Arsenal will clear. Dos Santos again. Flick towards the Mexican, didn't quite work out, and Jack Wilshere will pick up, and now Walcott is on his way once again. Seaman will have to get across, Van Dam as well. It's still Theo Walcott. Who can he pick out? And the shot is blocked as Campbell came in.
We're seeing it very often now in terms of the turnover. As soon as Arsenal win it, they can break at real pace. And when you see that type of energy in the team, you wonder why they don't adopt that attitude more in their Premier League, because Wenger's always on about this possession-based football. But when he does that and take a touch here, a touch there, it allows the opposition to get set, and Arsenal struggle to break them down. Some of their best results last season were invariably when they had least amount of possession.
Another corner. Oxlade-Chamberlain to try his luck. In-swinger this time. Blake with a good take.
Great goalkeeping. Picked the fly up early, really commanding, come out and took it.
Rolled out for Penso. The All-Stars come forward once again. David Villa just straight into an offside position. Penso will once again look to saunter forward, looking to pick the pass, to see the move. Penso from Dos Santos. Nodded away, picked up by Kaká on the edge of the penalty area, chipped back in towards Didier Drogba, flick back up towards a Brazilian again. The Bushi is strong and will clear.
And Drogba's looking at the referee there. How many times have we seen that ball into his chest, bumps the centre half, turns and gets his shot off?
Seaman steps in, does well, and then can't pick the pass and loses possession only momentarily. Here comes the Belgian again. Oh, that was rather late. First sign of Drogba causing problems to Bielik and Holding at the back.
Despite his age, the problem you have against Drogba when you play against him is he's so strong. If he gets you set and himself between you and the ball, it's so difficult to stop him swivelling and getting his shot off.
13 goals, 15 appearances against Arsenal. 10 wins, just 1 defeat.
Incredible turnaround, that stat, Chelsea against Arsenal, because prior to his arrival, Arsenal never struggled to beat Chelsea. Suddenly he turns up and they just couldn't get the better of him.
This is Walcott turning up inside the penalty area, and Oxlade-Chamberlain, and still takes a deflection. Van Dam is in the way, rather luckily, you'd have to suggest.
Oxlade-Chamberlain's furious with himself, didn't get any connection on that shot.
Free kick eventually taken from the right place. Ish. David Villa. Kaká tries to thread it through towards Didier Drogba. Might have a go himself. It's back towards Drogba. Just didn't get it right. And there was space there for the ball to the Ivorian.
And when that ball was picked up by Kaká, Drogba's thinking, this is my chance, because this guy can find anyone in those type of scenarios. And for him to overhit the pass is so unlike Kaká. Even great names like Kaká leading into this All-Star game. The excitement he talked about in representing the MLS and the uniqueness of it in terms of that you actually get a team that's picked and they actually play. It's not something you see in Europe, certainly don't see in the Premier League, where we have our team of the season, but they don't get to play it. And these guys are so excited about it. You could hear Kaká obviously voted as the captain for the 2nd year running, and what it meant to him. He talked about growing up as a young boy in Brazil and seeing the basketball teams and the All-Star teams of them, and then suddenly he gets the opportunity to play in the MLS.
2 players waiting to come on for the All-Stars as the hosts come forward again, and Bielik takes no chances to clear away. It's Piatti and Kleshton who are waiting to appear for the hosts, and we will have an opportunity to get these 2 players on as the players take on a little water in the high 80s. San Jose, and a hydration break at the half hours agreed. And while the players take on water, 2 to come on for MLS All-Stars. Nacho Piatti, who's been a real star, the Argentine. It's a player that can pick a pass, a little like Pirlo, a man who is going to replace. He can also score as well, as we've seen over the course of this campaign. He's been brilliant for Montreal Impact, 12 goals this season. And Piatti is on, Pirlo is off, and David Villa also to be replaced. And this time it's Sacha Kleshton of New York Red Bulls, who's played against Arsenal in his Anderlecht days, who comes on. So we're not going to see any more of Pirlo or Villa. The 2 New York City players have come off, which is a bit of a shame.
It is, and I'm sure Villa will be particularly frustrated about it, because in the build-up to this game, he talked about the uniqueness of this whole concept and how he was looking forward to the opportunity of playing alongside Piatti in particular. And he talked glowingly about how he's dominated in the MLS and he'd love to play alongside him. And as soon as he sees him coming off, he would have not expected that he was going to make way for him.
I guess the one thing you would say is that New York City do play on Saturday. They take on Colorado Rapids. Rapids going so well, of course, this season, second in the Western Conference. The rest of the MLS fixtures this weekend on the Sunday. So Pirlo and Villa perhaps saved by the All-Stars head coach Dominic Kinnear. Maybe something that was pre-arranged as well.
Well, certainly the MLS All-Stars looked a bit open on the turnover, as we said, in midfield against the counter-attacking pace of Arsenal. So you don't really want Pirlo chasing them all around the pitch if he's got his club form to concentrate on.
Question a different type of player, certainly, than Pirlo. This is Drogba. Can he flick it through towards the Red Bulls man, who was nearly presented with an opportunity just seconds after entering the fray? A lot more mobile in that midfield area, Question. Through towards Drogba again. It's Bielik that clears. Wilshere for El Neni. Gibbs. Oxlade-Chamberlain has come out to this near side. Campbell has swapped to the right. This is El Neni. Beckerman tries to challenge Coquelin. Oxlade-Chamberlain again here for Arsenal. Lead by a goal to nil. Just over 10 minutes remaining in the first half. The first half played at a good tempo, good pace about the fixture. Both sides potentially with a point to prove. Certainly personal ambitions abound from both squads. And a sellout crowd to perform in front of. Holding neat and tidy for Debuchy. Campbell. Coquelin. El Neni. This is Gibbs. Wilshere has made a sprint forward. Now it's with Oxlade-Chamberlain. This is Wilshere once again. Gibbs is in space here. Wilshere recycles for Oxlade-Chamberlain. Is there space to get a shot away for Coquelin, who's never scored for Arsenal? Here he is once again. Now it's with El Neni. Patient build-up play. Where's the opening for Arsene Wenger's side? Wilshere once more. Wasn't the worst cross, but Campbell arriving a little too late. And then falling foul of the law as he drags down Acosta.
Campbell in that situation has to attack across the goal from that cross, and MLS All-Stars need to keep hold of this ball for a little bit of time because Arsenal are moving it around with real authority, and in this type of heat it's so hard chasing.
Going to stay in the States for a second game against Chivas Guadalajara on Monday. And then back to play a couple of games before the season starts proper. Viking and then Manchester City in Scandinavia. This is Didier Drogba. Cross has been fired in here. Question looking to get good connection, but it was a good block in fairness. Kaká. Three weights on the edge of the Arsenal penalty area. The Brazilian looks to find Didier Drogba. And Kaká slips. Well, that is a rarity, and Campbell will steal away from the Brazilian and then cut inside again, and look for Theo Walcott. Well, the first two segments of that play were terrific from the Costa Rican. The last, not so much.
To any amateur footballer watching, if one of the best players of our generation can stand on the ball, there's hope for us all, yeah.
Well, Stars come forward once again, but Kaká won't get to that. Oxlade-Chamberlain. Beckerman to cut it out. Well, Stars come forward once more. Santos is looking to line this one up towards Drogba. Bielik takes it down. Drogba not close enough to nick it away from the pole.
Great composure by the young man, though, because he would assess the situation. He would have known he had a bit of space. The cross was flat, so he knew that Drogba appealed to the back post and showed great composure, and that's probably from his midfield schooling, but both he and Holdham have looked really assured at the back. So I think Arsene Wenger will be delighted with how they performed in this first half.
Played just one senior game, Bielik. That was against Sheffield Wednesday in the League Cup. Arsenal were thumped an off night at Hillsborough. Bielik on as a sub in that game. He was a star of the UEFA Youth League campaign.
Well, a lot was said about that defeat to Sheffield Wednesday 3-0, and it was a kids team, but Arsenal had a lot of experienced players out. Mertesacker played that evening and they were second best from start to finish, so I wouldn't blame or leave any of the blame at that young man's door.
Van Dam once played at Highbury for Ajax in a Champions League fixture. El Neni. Debussy forward. Campbell will take. And now Campbell slips, but recovers. Here is El Neni. Wilshere. Still looking to move the ball just that little quicker as they come into the final third. Oxlade-Chamberlain, 2 to beat. Gibbs in support. Still has possession here, Oxlade-Chamberlain, but he's denied by a combination of Klestjan and Rosenbrick.
I think Arsene Wenger will be delighted with the first half. A real tempo about his team. Trying to get them minutes into those legs and get your body in the right condition then for the start of the Premier League. Some tough games for Arsenal early on, Leicester, Liverpool. And all the hard work starts here in these type of games, because it'll be a challenge against these MLS players.
Campbell looking for the reverse ball back towards Debussy, who might be a little out of position here as suddenly Dos Santos comes forward. Now Piatti, can the Argentine conjure? El Neni is back helping out. It's still Nacho Piatti, and he can strike them. Looking to maybe tee up Klestjan, who was unaware of the presence of Oxlade-Chamberlain.
Oxlade-Chamberlain's got Klestjan on a couple of occasions now. Just needs to improve his awareness, know that people are not going to give him that time on the ball, because they know now this is a guy, Klestjan, who for Red Bulls has got 14 assists already this season, so we know how dangerous he can be when he gets on the ball.
Well, Drogba's been wrestled to the ground. Didn't seem too much in that one, but the familiar scowl is there as he looks around to see who it was that brought him down, and the referee agrees. Meanwhile, we've got an Arsenal band down, and it's Coquelin who's clutching a left knee, is it?
That's a worry when you look over to the bench when they're holding their knee. It looks like he's gapped his medial ligaments. Just as he's doing his proper job getting back, just looks like as he stretches into Drogba, a bit of his weight just goes onto that inside of that knee. We'll see here again. So you worry about things like that. You hope it's just a stinger and that the pain soon goes away, but if someone's holding their knee like that and then looking to the bench, it's a worry.
Well, he did miss games last season. He was injured against West Bromwich Albion back in November and didn't return until late Jan. Dominic Kinnear just looking on, the All-Stars coach who's had such success, of course, over the years. Multiple MLS Cup winner, and Houston, of course, to a couple of titles. So an assistant coach when San Jose Earthquakes claimed championships as well. But there is concern here with Coquelin. It's the one thing that managers don't want to happen in pre-season, and that obviously is injuries. Coquelin is up, not moving particularly freely. Sensible thing might be to substitute him straight away, but we'll see. Dominic Kinnear not too concerned about Coquelin. He wants to see what his all-star side can conjure here. Well, we've seen Drogba hit them. It's just a bit too close in.
Well, it looks like Drogba flexing his muscles here, a bit dominating, but certainly Dos Santos with that left foot of his and this type of angle up and over the wall. Czech has to make sure that he can see the ball first and foremost.
3 in the wall to cause confusion. Will they spin away? Let's find out. Giovanni Dos Santos or Didier Drogba off the top of the wall.
Drogba's looking at Czech there, his ex-teammate, with a wry smile. But Czech is high-fiving Holding. He made himself big and strong in that wall, and Drogba thought that he got the ball up and down. But Holding made himself big.
8 goals this campaign in MLS. Kaká with the corner, and the header from Van Dam is powerful, but lacks direction and is well over from the LA Galaxy man.
Yeah, we see the outswinger coming in Arsenal. We know zonal marking, but can't allow someone like Van Dam to have that 1-2-3 jump on you, because if you're backing up, you're never going to win that header.
Hasn't scored for Galaxy. Couple of minutes until half-time. Arsenal with the advantage. All Stars have had the ball in dangerous areas. Not that Petr Cech has had too much to do. Bielik Holding, the 2 centre-backs. 18 years old, the Pole, and Holding just 20. Played in the Toulon tournament, of course, for England. Tournament which England won for the first time in a generation. There he is again.
As much quality as this all-star team has in the squad, it's very difficult when you come together in such a short space of time to develop the understanding, to develop your team shape, and to make sure that when you lose the ball in certain scenarios you can win it back quickly. And that's a problem that these guys have faced, really, and the manager, that's the difficulty you have in such a short period of time, is how quickly can you mould a team together.
Gibbs. Wilshere wants it. Theo Walcott likewise. Oxlade-Chamberlain has it. Walcott once again. It's Debuchy. Now it's with El Neni. Plenty forward in red and white. Can Arsenal grab a second as half-time approaches? El Neni once again. Momentum of the move. Just lost a little. But possession is still Arsenal's. Coquelin, Gibbs. Campbell made the move too soon. Debuchy to control. Oxlade-Chamberlain to drive to the byline and keep it in play. Shows real industry and energy to get there. We're into 2 minutes of added on time. This is El Neni. Coquelin might fancy a strike himself. Caught in 2 minds.
A little taste of what El Neni brought when he was signed by Wenger in the winter period, and certainly shared the workload with Coquelin, who had no one of his ilk in the squad. Arteta, Flamini past their best, really. So certainly when he comes in with the energy that he possesses, made a massive difference in that central midfield player.
Last chance for All Stars to grab an equaliser before the break. We've got just over a minute or so. Wilshere under pressure. Has to use Gibbs. Wilshere once again. Big picture, of course, for England at the Euros. This is Rosenberry. Van Dam. Siman. It's a good-looking ball. It might just skip away from Dos Santos, though, who applauds the idea. The execution just a little off as Czech spots it quickly.
They read the situation so well there, and she just let Dos Santos run off in there. I'm not quite sure if he's in control of that situation or just got lucky, but certainly
it's a decent-looking ball here, though. Dos Santos might be able to finish, and surely Drogba will. Another opportunity, and another! Right on the stroke at half-time. He needed 3 bites of the cherry, but Didier Drogba, as he always seems to do, has scored yet again against the Gunners, and it's 1-1.
Incredible. We just talked about Debuchy getting a little bit lucky on the overhit pass, and Czech reading this situation. But he's advanced too early there, left his right-back slot. And from that moment on, Drogba looks in total control. Czech first saves it, then a great block on the line. But on the 3rd occasion, Drogba made it count.
Drogba, scourge of the Gunners once again. Great awareness to find the corner. Didn't panic. Just prods it into the net. And the former Chelsea man has done it yet again.
It's amazing, isn't it, really, that stat? I mean, any Arsenal fan, when they look to see who scored against their team, will not be surprised to see that it was Drogba.
Better check his furious. His old teammate has scored against him. Nothing he could do. A scramble at the end of the first half in this All-Stars clash. The Ivorian prodding home after twice being blocked. Dominic Kinnear will be happy with the scoreline, I'm sure. After 45, his side went behind. All smiles between Drogba and Czech. Campbell got that first goal from the penalty spot after he was brought down by Simon Oxlade-Chamberlain, down inside the penalty area by Belgian and Montreal impact defender Laurent Simon. And it means that we enter the second period all square. One or two of the All-Stars subs are still on. Likewise, Arsenal replacements. One or two changes that we will see over the course of the second half, you would imagine. We've seen two changes already for the All-Stars. Klestjan, who had a hand in the goal, of course, and also Piatti. Arsenal making a handful of changes ahead of this second period. No real surprise that Arsene Wenger will look to use his squad in the two games his team will play in North America before coming back to Europe. We're also going to see changes for the All-Stars as well. Looks like David Bingham, the San Jose Earthquakes stopper, is about to come on for the second half, replacing Andre Blake, who made one terrific stop.
How good is that to make your first All-Star appearance at your home ground? For Bingham and Guy, who feel so comfortable in his surroundings, but we're desperate to do well in this type of company.
So going to see Mauro Diaz of FC Dallas for this second period. Bit of confusion as the last subs come on. David Bingham certainly wants to start this second half. Arsenal also making a handful of changes, as we mentioned. Bellerin, Monreal, Cazorla, Xhaka and Iwobi, the quintet we believe to come on. Looks like we're also going to see Will Trapp as well. That is Callum Chambers that is coming on for Arsenal. And still one or two getting stripped and ready to enter the fray here. Darlington Nagbe, we could see also the Portland Timbers player. One of very much interest from an Arsenal point of view will be Granit Xhaka. Alex Iwobi, who emerged from obscurity really for Arsenal last season. He was not really a player that many were looking at to be promoted to the first team squad, but he was. Nigerian international, nephew of JJ Okocha, scored a couple of goals in the Premier League. And he will start this second half for Arsenal. We're underway for the second half of this MLS All-Stars clash between the All-Stars and Arsenal, the English Premier League runners-up from last campaign. Going in front through Campbell from the spot, being pegged back by Didier Drogba, who netted yet again against the Gunners. He's done it in a pre-season friendly before. He scored a couple of goals for Galatasaray in the Emirates Cup a few years ago. Turkish side stealing the trophy that day. 13 and 15 in his Chelsea days. He's the man that's given the All-Stars the opportunity to maybe kick on and win yet another All-Stars clash against a Premier League side. This is Nagbe, and once again Darlington Nagbe. Can he get the shot away? They're queuing up far post here, and eventually it might fall to Piatti on this near side. He can get it back inside the penalty area. Eventually it's cleared away.
Great skill by Piatti. Brought it down in his right foot, little couple of kick-ups, then looked to put it back in the danger area. Unfortunately, none of his teammates had read the situation.
This is Acosta. Playing at left back, of course, unfamiliar position for those that are regular FC Dallas watchers. First All-Star appearance for the 21-year-old USA under-20 international. Kendall Waston of Vancouver Whitecaps. And back towards David Bingham. And once again, it will take a little bit of time for all the new faces to try and gel for the All-Stars. Touch on that far side once again. Inside the penalty area, Javinko looking to twist and turn. Does get the shot away, but that's a brilliant save from Petacek.
The quality of the little man, Javinko, there again. Can take the ball in tight areas. Manages to work the ball to get his strike off there. And what a fantastic save by Petacek again. But look at the movement there. Runs across the line of one centre-half in behind. Brilliant first touch. Doesn't quite settle it, but still manages to get his strike off.
Raise the cry. Malin does enough, and the ball will bounce out. Confirmation of Javinko's appearance. And the changes confirmed on screen. Javinko has had another terrific season for Toronto. 11 goals this campaign, including a hat-trick last time out against DC United.
He's been a major success since he's come in. He's, like you said, his goals, his assists, he can score all types of goals. A fantastic signing for the MLS.
Bit awkward from Bingham. On home turf, of course, at San Jose and the Earthquakes. Acosta. Down the line for Piatti. Looking to take on Bayern. The Spaniard comes back to deal with the danger, but Piatti will get another go. Terrific season for the young fullback last campaign. Flick forward for Piatti again. This occasion, the ball from Mauro Diaz just not good enough. Two Argentines looking to combine. Meanwhile, at the other end, we've seen little of Arsenal so far in this second half. Will Alex Iwobi change all that? He's through towards Walcott, looking to use his strength. Was he brought down? The flag is up on this near side for a second. I thought the referee was going to point to the spot for the second time.
Walcott done very well just to get his body between the ball and the defender, draw that foul, and the All-Stars will be relieved that he was flagged for offside.
Question for Javinko. This is Acosta looking to make ground on the left-hand side. He's kept it in play. Just to feed it infield. Diaz, and now Javinko. Bounces away off Callum Chambers.
Javinko, great link-up play there again. Just works in that area, opens up the strike, looks to bend it in that far corner. And Chambers has done brilliant to make himself big to block the shot.
Acosta. Towards Farrell on that right-hand side, but the ball's just going to bounce away.
Real positive start by the All-Star second half. Look like they've got real energy in that midfield area now. Willing runners from deep. People who've got the ability to find those type of runs, and certainly Kinnear, the manager, will be delighted with the start of this second half.
Second time that he's taken charge of the All-Stars. Guided the team in the 2009 fixture against Everton. Everton winning that match on spot kicks. Tim Howard given man of the match honours for saving 3 penalties in the shootout. Heading on the right-hand side, looking to get the crossing quickly. Walcott slips. This is Campbell. Left-footed effort is well struck. Berin back here for Xhaka. Good awareness to feed Iwobi on that left-hand side. Now it's with Campbell once again. Joe Monreal, who's appeared for this second half, enters the frame, gets a first touch. And then it's given away. Giovinco looking to move forward. Now it's with Mauro Diaz, but groans from the MLS supporters as it just wouldn't fall through to Piatti on this near side. Xhaka. Oxlade-Chamberlain looks to whip the cross in this time into a good area, but Walcott unable to throw himself at that.
There's a great area as well, the delivery, that near post area, and you're looking for an elite level centre forward to attack across the near post, across the face of his centre half, but Walcott just doesn't see those situations early enough.
Iwobi. Here is Xhaka.
The player that Arsenal fans will want to see, Xhaka, and a lot of talk coming out of the camp from the Arsenal players about his presence, even for a young man, that he's got real authority in that central midfield area. We talked about Coquelin needing help in that area. El Neni comes in, but let's not forget about Cazorla as well, who's so pivotal to how well Arsenal play when he's been brought inside to that central midfield area, away from the wings that you normally associate him throughout this early part of his career.
Austin to turn. Bingham to take his time. Arsenal, who were top of the Premier League at Christmas, favourites to win the Premier League even in February when...
What year are you talking about?
They managed to beat Leicester.
Every year they're around there in February.
Suggesting that they don't have the staying power.
And I'm able to do that because as a young man growing up in North London, Arsenal was my team. And under Arsene Wenger, we've seen some fantastic teams under him. Vieira, Petit, those type of guys, Bergkamp, Overmars, Anelka, you can just continue to name them. But this squad of players has a massive role to play now to protect his legacy, because if he fails this year, all that good work will be tarnished somewhat in the eyes of the Arsenal fans who have idolised him over the time he's been at Arsenal.
Late Feb to March, when it started to unravel, just one win in 8 in all competitions, and that was the replay against Hull in the FA Cup. Knocked out of the Champions League, slipping off the pace in the Premier League. They rallied, of course, and beaten in their last 9 at the end of the campaign to steal second spot from Spurs on the last day. Into the group stage of the Champions League yet again for the 20th consecutive season. They'll be looking to make the knockout stages once more. Well, that's a lovely flick from Giovinco. What can Nagbe do? Question just in front. Farrell on the overlap. Here is Farrell, New England Revolution man who's had a good season, his first All-Star appearance.
How often have we seen that from Will Trapp this season? Picks the ball up in those deep areas, has great vision, great passing ability. Just has really set this team up for this second half. Really good shape, really good balance about this side at the moment for the All-Stars. And obviously when you're watching the first half, you're sitting on the bench and you're itching to play, because it's a massive honour to be selected first and foremost for it. But you want to play, you want to be starting these games, and if you don't, you look at your coach all the time saying, get me on there.
Seems to be a lot more mobility as well about All-Stars all of a sudden. Giovinco up front, replacing Drogba, of course, a very different player. This is Oxlade-Chamberlain looking to inject some pace in the Arsenal attack, and still going. It's a decent looking cutback, but again there's nobody there, and Klestion will take a touch, and now Waston has possession. Klestion again. Giovinco was happier to come back and get involved, you feel, than Drogba. Farrell. Diaz. Part of a dynamic Dallas side with some very useful midfield players.
we always associate young players coming through at Arsenal, but even when you said about Diaz there, this is a guy who at 17 made his debut for River Plate. Can you imagine the intensity for a club like that? So certainly this second half team for the All-Stars has got real quality in it in terms of looking after the ball, as we see here.
Giovinco, clever for Kleshtin. Giovinco once again, first time for Piatti. Got options here, Nacho Piatti. Acosta will thrash towards goal, it's over the bar.
Bellerin's done brilliantly against Piatti there. Looked like he's just unbalanced him. He looks like he want to cut into that right-hand side, open up the goal, but read the situation really well. And Bellerin, with games, has got better defensively. Look at him 1v1, shows a lot down the outside, but knows Piatti wants to come onto that stronger right foot and open up the goal.
Going to see a change here for the All-Stars, and Acosta's last act was to wildly fire over. And it's Brandon Vincent that's coming on. MLS rookie season for Vincent. Plays his club football for Chicago Fire. Super draft pick who spent 4 years at Stanford University with the Cardinals.
We talked about the veterans and the iconic players in this MLS team, but the future of this league will be, can they develop these players? And the likes of Vincent coming on, won his first cap for the US in February, and this is what they'll be judged on. Obviously, got the infrastructure, got the fan base now, got investment. The quality is getting better year on, year out, because better players are coming over at earlier stages of their career. But what they have to do to sustain it is they have to develop their own player through these academies that they're doing, and the likes of him, and as we said earlier, Rosenberry, these are the guys that you want to see coming to the fore now.
Yeah, apparently the Arsenal players were suggesting as much in the run-up to this game. Interesting to hear from Theo Walcott saying that it is getting closer to the standard of European leagues. Game's growing, getting bigger. We're suggesting it's exactly what we want. A game to build in North America.
Yeah, absolutely. We're seeing players coming over there now, maybe 2 or 3 years earlier than they were doing in previous seasons, and that will help the league develop. They'll face challenges, of course they will, because of what's happening in China, but the Premier League is facing challenges because of the money that is involved in China. But certainly when you look at the situation now with the MLS, it's a real strong league. We're talking about attendances. They're averaging 21,000 each week, and I mean that will be in the top 7 or 8 in the world, so you can see it's growing, and occasions like this just increasing more people to want to look at what's happening there.
And it's organic growth as well, you feel. It's not just a big injection of cash looking to kick-start it. It's been done the right way. Diaz battles hard to win possession for the All-Stars. 1-1 here, we approach the hour. Much more even, you feel, in this second period. Arsenal not bossing the game as they did for periods in the first half. Better balance about the All-Stars side, as Gary was pointing out. Diaz has certainly helped in that department. Nagbe will always help. This is Giovinco. Foul over on the right-hand side. Kleshtin calling for it. So is Darlington Nagbe. Piatti edge of the box, but the cross isn't good enough.
He looks to get forward at every opportunity from that right side, but he'd be disappointed with that type of cross, because you should have more quality in them areas. Once you get into those areas, you work so hard to get there, you can't let yourself down with that type of lack of technique.
All his career at New England Revolution. Hour gone. All-Stars 1, Arsenal 1. No addition to the scoreline in this second half. Multiple changes for both sides. This is Oxlade-Chamberlain for the Gunners. Had a lively first half. Hector Bellerin. Iwobi. First touch lets him down a little. Nagbe is busy going forward. Diaz likewise, and helps it on for Piatti. He's got Giovinco looking to hold his run. Here is Giovinco. Still going. And still can't quite get the shot away. Content to try and find an outlet. Kleshtin can here fire it back inside the penalty area. Patient build-up play from the All-Stars this time, but it's Diaz that loses possession, and it's Arsenal that come away with the ball. Boston to force it back to Bingham. Walcott staying on, he's played an hour. Obviously no Olivier Giroud Arsenal's top scorer last season after his exertions with France, and Alexis Sanchez with an ankle injury sustained in the Copa America, but not too serious by all accounts. Two main goal getters from last campaign missing, and of course the main goal creator, Mesut Ozil, who managed 19 assists in the Premier League. Also missing this particular trip because of what he did in the European Championships with Germany, and Aaron Ramsey likewise.
When you mention those names, they've got some quality, haven't they, throughout that squad? But the problem and the issue that supporters will have is those key positions, centre-back, centre-forward, being the difference between finishing in the Champions League again and actually winning the league.
Barrow won't get to that. Arsenal have it with Xhaka. Short, sharp passes from Xhaka so far. It's renowned for pinpoint accuracy from 40, 50, 60 yards. That's through towards Giovinco. Chambers across.
It's brilliant for Holding on his debut for Arsenal to play against someone like Giovinco, because the movement is there. Initially he looks to go short to receive the ball, just brings Holding with him, and then in that moment spins in behind him and you can't recover. This is a massive learning curve for Holding. I'm sure he'll get better, because in situations in this game this evening he's done brilliantly in terms of reading situations, adjusting his body, getting his body shape right.
Looks to go again here. Campbell drives to the edge of the box and then tries to cut it back for Walcott. Too many All-Stars players in the way. Piatti, the obvious out ball, will look to turn his man. El Neni wins it back for the Gunners. Bayern turns away from Piatti. El Neni.
This is just what Arsenal wanted to do, get hold of the ball, keep control, possession, just take a little bit of momentum out of the All-Stars attack, because they looked like they were getting ahead of steam, and just make them chase the ball for a little bit of time now.
El Neni. Iwobi with the ball for Oxlade-Chamberlain. Thought about the first time, but looks to go on a run instead, and still going. Tees it up to the far post. Monreal, who was coming in on the blind side, who's out of position now. Can the All-Stars find a pocket of space over on the Arsenal left side of their defence? Momentum in the move lost once again. But Giovinco looking to use his strength here. Holding does brilliantly. Both Holding and Chambers played for England in the Toulon tournament. Chambers played in every game.
Well, it's a big season for Chambers. Obviously, he came for a lot of money as a young player. Arsenal couldn't really find the perfect position. Obviously, centre-back initially, then tried him at right full, struggled at times, and even tried to persevere with him in a holding midfield role, similar to what Eric Dyer does at Tottenham. But being comfortable on the ball at centre-half is very different to being able to take it in central midfield player on the half-turn. It's a totally different skill set.
Okay, with the interception, comes to nothing. Here is Chambers. A great start to his Arsenal career. Season before last after switching from Southampton, but a little off the pace when seen in first-team action last campaign, which wasn't regularly as a starter. This is Iwobi. Took his chance late last campaign. Through once again. Real will have to stretch, but they're queuing up inside the penalty area. Wasted away.
Such a physical presence back there, Waston. Read the situation well, just got himself in a good area and cleared the danger.
Further changes and youngsters to come on. Zalalem, Akpom and Willock. Zalālim expected to progress a little quicker than he has done. On loan, of course, Rangers last campaign. He made his debut for Arsenal in a cup match against Coventry a good few years ago. Approaching the midway point of this second half, and once again an opportunity for some of the players to take drinks on here, and for Arsenal to make further changes, because there's a quartet of youngsters about to come on. Chuba Akpom, who was on loan at Hull last season, only scored 3 goals in the second tier in England. We're also going to see Gideon Zalālim, Jeffrey Adelaide and Chris Willock, the last two 18 years old, the pair who played in the UEFA Youth League last season.
Zalālim was a particular note to all the supporters of MLS now. Jurgen Klinsmann been talking to him about trying to bring him into that national team, and Wenger's been very complimentary, saying, listen, he's got the quality, there's no doubt about that. If he's lacking anything, it's just in his physical development. Now, if he goes and plays in the second tier in Scottish football, that will toughen him up, there's no doubt about it. You'd hope that they would have reaped the benefit from that, and now he can challenge that first team squad. But Wenger's talked about maybe taking him out on loan again to kind of encourage him to come out of himself, develop even further.
He's 19 now, started 15 games in Scotland last season. Germany born, grew up in the States, of course, spotted playing for only Rangers in the Dallas Cup, a prestigious youth tournament in the United States. So Wenger has got big plans, I'm sure, for a number of the youngsters on show for the final 23 minutes, and they'll be hoping that they can conjure something and inspire those around them. He can pick a pass, Zalālim. He was likened to Cesc Fabregas when he first came to the club. Played in pre-season games before. Of course, the star of the Emirates Cup last season was Reine Adelaide. Terrific French junior international. It's a shot from distance that is palmed away by Bingham. That's what the Arsenal fans want to see. Granit Xhaka can strike them.
Really can. He's picked that ball up in the deep area, found a bit of space, touches it out of his feet. No one engages him, drives forward and hits a fantastic strike.
Not a regular goal scorer in the Bundesliga.
Well, certainly the way teams defend against Arsenal deep, because they don't want to allow that space in behind. He will pick the ball up in those areas, and if he has that type of quality from that distance, then that's a great attribute for Arsenal.
Bayern. Welby looks to just divert it back. Chambers. Zalālim. USA junior international. Here he is again. Arsenal's turn to dominate play. Just over 20 minutes remaining. Reine Adelaide. And still going forward here. Wide of the target. And the youngster signed from Lens.
You can understand why it's opened up. He's took his chance, but really should be just laying Bella in there for the overlap, because they've got 2-3-1 situation out wide. We see it here again. Look, drives at the full-back. Now the releases Bella in, timing the run's brilliant. Would have been near on a certain goal, but just decision making as a young player. You've got all that to learn. You've got to make the time when it's right to shoot, when to pass.
A couple of cup-ups last season for Reine Adelaide. Chambers looking to use his pace to come across. He'll take plenty of confidence from the running the England side that won the Toulon tournament. I think he'll know that he's got an opportunity early season with Mertesacker, of course, out injured. Here's Reine Adelaide again, through towards Akpom, who looks to turn and still going forward. He was brought down.
Well, Chuba Akpom just didn't get his first touch right, which would have seen him drive away from the defenders. We see it there, first touch out your feet there, you'd have been away. Doesn't do it, just allows him to get back, but shows great strength to draw the foul. And we know Arsenal got players of the highest quality to make these situations count.
Birnbaum takes him down, and Arsenal have a free kick. Xhaka's going to take this one on. We've seen him test Bingham already. What can the summer signing do here? Xhaka for Arsenal, well struck and well held by Bingham.
Yeah, there was some real ferocity behind that strike, and we talked about him earlier on, but Bingham positioned himself brilliantly well, got his wall lined up perfectly, just managed to hold on.
Poor play though now as Rain Adelaide looks to take advantage here for Arsenal. Better defending on that occasion from the full-back, but eventually it bounces out of play. Brandon Vincent getting back. Wondolowski about to come on. And it's a huge moment for Wondolowski, and certainly the supporters here, one of their own, about to enter the fray. Quake supporters know all about him. Viate, the player, coming off. Applause from the Quakes fans as one of their own looks to make an impression here. And Clint Dempsey is the other player to come on. One or two boos from the Arsenal fans, giving his Spurs connections. And eventually we'll get this corner taken. Here is Dempsey, still banging in the goals in MLS. Nodded away towards Diaz.
Dempsey had such a good Premier League campaign. Over 200 appearances, approaching 60 goals. You'd argue his best years were at Fulham, but suddenly when he got that move to Tottenham, you thought that it would elevate him. Didn't quite work out how we'd have liked, but a quality player, no doubt.
Only twice on the winning side against Arsenal in his days in England. Both occasions were for Fulham. 8 times on the wrong end of the scoreline. Diaz. Game's just lost a little shape with all the changes, but Giovinco always making himself available. Outside of the boot, looking to get the cross in, and evades everybody. No one can quite pull the trigger, and eventually from distance that's wide and not so handsome from Wiltrap.
He's got a wry smile there. His eyes lit up, he's shaking his head now, and why not? Go for it. This is what these games are about.
Difficult season for Columbus Crew. Outside of the playoff places at the moment, 7 points adrift. Chap has been a rare plus point, really. Vincent will take the throw. Giovinco looking to help it on. Now a real opportunity here. Oh! Well, the centre from Dempsey needed to be better. Still the move alive here for the MLS All-Stars. And in the end, it's cleared.
I'm so surprised to see him pass. It looked like he was going to open up his body and look to whip it right foot at that far post, but once he made the decision to square it, he should really be executing it better than he did.
Two most recent substitutes looking to combine. Dempsey trying to find Wondolowski.
Arsenal have to be careful. We see Bellerin looking to attack. Yes, he's an attacking full-back, but he just leaves that defensive area too quickly, and it affords then Dempsey all that type of space.
Here's Willock. Zalalam. And Adelaide. First touch a little heavy. 15 minutes remaining here. One apiece. And it will go to penalties if it stays the same. Willock again on the left-hand side. Arsenal coming forward in numbers. Where is the opening for the Gunners? Xhaka. Good strong play from Farrell. Got a bit of a weight advantage, you suggest, against the teenager?
No, listen, you don't want to be getting to a shoulder charge with him. This is a guy I've seen more often than not right back, but play centre half because of that physical presence.
Just a cameo from Giovinco, who missed the All-Stars game last season because of injury. Kyle Larin, the Orlando striker, is coming on, and many wondered if he could do this season what he did last campaign, and he's proved the doubters wrong, that's for certain, because he's been amongst the goals once again. 10 this season, 17 last campaign.
To get that in your rookie season is incredible, and I know it's a record on that, but that is fantastic. And you're right, quite often when a young player does that, everyone says, oh listen, no one really knows about you that first season, they'll all know about you the second, can you do it then? And he's answered all those critics.
There's plenty of attacking options now for Dominic Kinnear's side. The All-Stars have Dempsey on, Wondolowski, who scored against Chelsea in the 2012 All-Stars game, a 3-2 success then. Fourth appearance for him. Dempsey we know all about, of course, although he's never scored in an All-Stars game. And now Larin, who's been attracting many scouts from Europe. Canadian international. Looks like he's going to play right up top.
Isn't it great as a supporter to see this happening? You get to see all the stars of your league playing in a team together, and you know, these supporters had a massive say in actually who gets selected. Of course they do, and that's something that would be great to see in the Premier League in terms of when the best teams picked.
This is Reign Adelaide looking to conjure something after Iwobi's ball. Well, he's certainly been involved, the French youngster. It's another on the fringes, you feel, of that first team squad. Whether he'll go out on loan remains to be seen. Bingham dallies for a second, but then digs it out. All-Stars haven't been as dynamic in the last 7 or 8 minutes or so, maybe even more. Last time we had a shootout was back in the 2009 edition, Everton beating the All-Stars by 4-3. Dominic Kinnear was in charge then. Will we get a winner, and will it be decided by spot kicks? Either way, it's been a good workout, you feel, for Arsene Wenger's side, and the All-Stars seemingly have enjoyed it as well. We've seen all of the big names in action. Dominic Kinnear has made sure that everyone's got some minutes on the pitch. This is Darlington Nagbe, Portland Timbers schemer. Diaz shone briefly when he first came on, been a little quiet in the last 5 or 10. That's a little sloppy as well. Van was given the ball away, and this is Akpom on the right-hand side. Can he get the shot away? And still going, and still wants to knock it towards the far post. It's nodded away just enough on that occasion from Birnbaum. Arsenal coming on strong as we're about to enter the final 10. This is Willock. Now he's with Baird in, whips it in. Akpom just can't convert. That's good defending. Diaz against Xhaka. Dempsey. Diaz once again. There is space for Vincent on this left-hand side. Looks to control, just about keeps it in play, and digs out the cross for Larin. Awkward bounce. And Diaz goes down, but doesn't really look for the spot kick. Game just beginning to get a little open.
Yeah, that's what you want, end-to-end stuff now. Both teams tracing the winner.
Reign Adelaide. Zalalam. Bearing down the line. Iwobi. Zalalam once again. Reign Adelaide for Xhaka. Still supporters want him to shoot. Declines the opportunity, crowded out. Monreal makes a move, but he's ignored for now. Philip looks to use his body and does manage to keep it in play, and then Vincent slides in.
Brilliant. You can see these young Arsenal players, and you can see the schooling, the education that they've had, moving the ball, pass, move. It's whether or not they've got that ability to go to this elite level and force their way into this Arsenal squad.
Zalala. Rain Adelaide loses out. All Stars have it once again. Dempsey looking to try and get Larin on his way on the right-hand side. Has Chambers got the pace to get across? It's still Kyle Larin here and still going forward, looking to try and tee up Wondolowski!
He can't believe it. It's teed up for him, the local boy, to get the winner. And you have to look at the defending by Chambers here again. How he's allowed that run to go across the front of him. It's a great play there by Larin against. Holds it up, finds it. And Wondolowski, that's how many times we've seen him put those away into the far corner. What an opportunity missed.
117 regular season goals for all his clubs, 245 appearances. He's weighed in with 8 this campaign. All with the national side, of course. Twice MLS top goal scorer at Wando. Scored 10 or more in his last 6 seasons and just 2 shy for this campaign, which I'm sure he'll get. Nagbe. Diaz. Wondolowski looking to find Larin on this occasion. Repay the compliment. Diagonal here is good to just move into the path of Chuba Akpom, who will try and lay it back. Zalala, Xhaka. And again, Monreal. He won't be calling for it. Zalala wants it. Akpom, edge of the box. Just moves the wrong side of Waston. Instant away. Holding under pressure as well.
Yeah, he can be very happy with his performance though. He's been assured, composed, read situations very well, got himself into good early positions, what you need to do, and he certainly has. Looks like he's one for the future.
This is Iwobi, who could be one for now, and still Alex Iwobi steps away from one challenge and another. Looks to go for glory himself when there were options, and it's blocked.
Chuba Akpom is furious with him. Why he doesn't just roll it down the side? But Iwobi's used the Akpom's run as a decoy. It's opened up for him, but he just can't get out of his feet to make the connection.
The youngsters are hungry. They can sense a winner. Can Xhaka provide from the corner? Plenty forward in red and white. Chambers and holding up from the back as well. Lots to aim at here. Plenty of movement in the box. Holding with a header! That would have been some debut.
And he's picked the flight of it all the way. The outswinger, left-footed corner. And just look at him there. Picks the flight up. It's up early. Should really be hitting the target then. You can see his frustration.
Just the 1 goal for Bolton last campaign at MK Dons in a 3-1 home win back in January. Diaz. Nagbe. Time for the All-Stars to come forward. Can they snatch it with just over 5 minutes remaining? Shadows lengthen across the pitch. Curled to the edge of the box once again. Dempsey does well. Wondolowski to the right-hand side. Plenty forward. Wondolowski is one of them. Chambers this time in front of Wando. Will nod behind.
Good positioning by Chambers there. That ball goes wide. Any centre-half, the initial thought should be to get in line with that near post and say to the guy on the ball, right, beat me now. And Chambers, good defending.
Diaz with a corner. Away by Akpom. Vincent will drive in. Just needed a better feed to this near side. Wondolowski was waiting. Huge clearance downfield. Rain Adelaide will try and make something of it. Iwobi. Xhaka. Arsenal with plenty forward inside the box. Twists and turns and looks to try and play it for Monreal here. Must be! Chuba Akpom in the right place at the right time. Could not miss. And with 4 minutes remaining, Arsenal are in front.
How many times have we seen Monreal making those supporting runs from deep, giving you the overlap option, and the timing of it was perfect. Release to him, drove the ball across that 6-yard box, so difficult to mark. Here's the run in the left-hand part of your screen. There it is, hold, release. There you go, now you're just driving it in there, and Akpom. They're the type of goals you want as a centre-forward.
Couldn't miss. Chuba Akpom puts Arsenal in front right at the end of the second half. In and out the side at Hull last season, on loan of course, and didn't score as many goals as he would have hoped for, that's for certain. Just the 3 in the Championship. He's had 1 or 2 opportunities for Arsenal in the Premier League, has been a substitute on 4 occasions, loaned to the likes of Brentford, Coventry and Nottingham Forest over the years. He's 20 now, and well, if you're a striker, you've got to be in the group, I guess, haven't you?
He always seems to get his goals in these pre-season games. But he's at a real crossroads in his career, no doubt about that. You said about his loans, Brentford and Coventry didn't go particularly well, Hull as well. So it'd be fascinating, interesting to know what the decision is made by Wenger in terms of what they do next. And it's usually a significant part of his career. Because he's a talented player and he's got goals in him, there's no doubt about that.
Well, it turns away. Berin. Zalalem. It's the youngsters that have shone in this second half for Arsene Wenger's side. Jack has been that calming influence, holding midfield, but the rest, graduates that have come through, 1 or 2 marquee signings that are still young though, the likes of Chambers and Holding. Monreal, got a bit of experience on the pitch, I guess. But it's been a useful workout for all concerned, and the All-Stars certainly have contributed here. Haven't seen as much cut and thrust in this second half, but it's understandable given the heat and the changes of personnel over the course of the last half hour, and certainly at the start of the second half. But I think the All-Stars, by and large, will be pleased how they've matched up against some of the senior players in that first period. The younger players that have come through, you've been talking about, Gary. I think been a really good education.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's been a really successful evening in terms of MLS teaming. Certainly, if you're a fan coming to watch it, you've got to see all the best players in your league, icons of world football, young players coming through. There's been a real feel-good factor in the whole lead up to this game, and I think this fixture is going to get stronger and stronger as the years go by.
This is Larry looking to come forward after some brilliant play from Dempsey. Half a chance, quarter chance maybe. It's not over with just yet. All-Stars scrambled a leveller. At the end of the first period, they're looking for something similar here as the 90 draws ever closer. Arsenal were beaten by the Red Bulls on the last occasion they came to the States. They got the better of an Independiente side in the late 80s in Miami. Actually played an indoor game a few seasons prior to that. In their first ever foray to the United States, they were beaten 7-5 in a game that featured rolling subs, and it's all a little bit odd. But this particular vintage look like they're going to strike glory, courtesy of Chuba Akpom's late close-range effort. Will it be the winner? Not if Dempsey has anything to do about it. And Nagbe's cross towards Larin. He's pounced upon. Martinez reads it well.
If they got to the byline then, you're really looking to cut it back, but unfortunately Larin hasn't attacked across that near post. Had he done so, he'd have put Arsenal a lot of trouble with only a minute to go.
Just the 2 minutes of added on time. We've had a minute of it. Monreal. Xhaka. To pick some neat passes. That one shot that troubled Bingham in the second half. He can be pleased with his run out. Much more to come from him, I'm sure. Well, that's a little sloppy. Delilah nearly allowing Will Trapp in.
This is the frustration with Arsenal. There's a minute to go to see the game out. Yes, it's a pre-season friendly, but it's about getting in good habits. Two fullbacks in high advanced areas. You don't have to go and get a third. Just defend properly, stay behind the ball, and make sure you win this game 2-1.
Larin. Diaz. Strong play from Chambers. Monreal helps out, and the full-time whistle sees Arsenal claim success in the All-Star game. Dominic Kinnear and Arsene Wenger shake hands. A good workout for the All-Stars, certainly. Dominic Kinnear couldn't fashion the win against an Arsenal side who went ahead through Campbell on 11 minutes. A penalty after he was brought down by Seaman. Drogba inevitably on the